Hey everyone, this is Terry Vincent from Perth Impact Entrepreneurs. Yes, we were Perth Entrepreneur Social for those of you who are wondering why the name changed, and now we're actually Perth Impact Entrepreneurs. So we've changed that because we believe that we're a real stand for making a massive impact, and a massive impact globally. And many of you have come from all over the world to listen into this, which is super exciting because it means that we're able to spread ourselves to other places in the world through the pleasure that the internet gives us, or through the luxury that the internet gives us. Now, this interview that I've got here is with James Cruzen, and James Cruzen is from the US. He is not live actually on this. I'm going to play you a recording because right at the moment it is 3 a.m. his time. So I thought when I asked him if he would be interviewed, and he gladly agreed, we decided that it would be better to do it at a time that worked for both of us. And so we did it this morning. So I actually interviewed him this morning, which I'm going to play for you shortly. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up what's going on with us first. I'll give you an introduction to James, and then we can get straight into you listening to it. So with Perth Impact Entrepreneurs, what we're doing at the moment is really, like I said, having that connection and collaboration with the opportunity to offer you so much more than we have in the past. So where we've been more about just coming to networking events, giving you value, obviously you can support each other through this. It's more than that. It is very much about us establishing relationships and connections and how we can impact the world globally. So it's impact within your business, and it could be in a local area, or it could be more global where some of you want to head. And at the moment, we've all got that opportunity to go global because obviously we are very much impacted by the coronavirus and what it's doing to our businesses. So being online is the place to be unless you've got an essential business where you still are open, which I know many of you haven't. So right now, to let you know what we're doing is launching some amazing programs, including a membership program, which is going to be massive value for you all. And I know that so many of you are going to want to be part of it. We've got the best speakers coming along to contribute to that, speakers and mentors, and you also get to be part of the contribution side of it as well, and more so the impact, which is what our name is. So watch this space, we'll be doing that shortly. Also our branding around Perth Impact Entrepreneurs will be coming out as well, which more aligns with who we are and what we're a stand for. Okay, now to get on with why we're here. So James Cruzen is an amazing guy. Like, I've had the absolute pleasure of only knowing him a short amount of time, but knowing enough about him that I thought, hey, I want to interview this guy. This guy's awesome. So we had Peter Lakovich speaking on sales and how that can make such a difference to your business. Now, what James does is actually takes that part of the sales that is the logical side and the things that you need to do in order to be able to support people to make buying decisions, because that's what this is about. And what he does is actually, he works with you through what he calls unspoken leadership. So his business is unspoken leadership. His background is an international swing dance instructor. So swing dancing is very much about the feeling of the body and the feeling of the movement. And he'll talk to you a little bit about this anyway, but he's established a business based on his experience of being a swing dance instructor. So just to give you the idea that not all businesses come from something that already exists. It may be an idea that exists, but the actual way that you put the flow together can actually come from experience that you've had that's nothing to do with the business that you're actually looking to run. So James is going to explain that to you, and how that you can actually get better results by understanding your client at a whole different level, by understanding your client through body language and through those unspoken words. That is more about the connection that you want to establish with them. So understanding what their problem is one thing, understanding how to connect with them is another. So you can get on to watching the video and the interview with James. I'd just like you all to connect in, sit back, if you've got yourself water or coffee or whatever, and enjoy it. It's about 25 minutes long. And at the end, James is going to tell you, will give you an opportunity of how you can connect in with him for free. So please take advantage of that. And also the offer from me is still always there. And that is you can book a one-on-one call with me, a strategy call. Let me go through where you're at with your business right now and give you some support to help you move on. It could be about what you need to do to pivot. So please also, when you receive the email with this recording, please also connect and book a time with me, because I'd love to support you with that. On that note, like I said, sit back and enjoy. Thanks everyone for attending. Excited to see you on the next one. And by the way, on that note, we have the amazing Paul Dunn. For those of you who know who he is, for those who haven't, watch this space. You're going to want to be on the next one for sure. All right, everyone, take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
So James, tell us a little bit more about how you got into dancing and how this all eventuated into your Unspoken Leadership business.
Wow, a big question to start off with. Dancing started for me in high school, and it was my sister who drugged me off the couch. And only when her really cute girlfriend was going with her to class did I say, yes, sure, I'll try that out. So what started as just an off-the-cuff activity turned into a hobby, which then turned into a career of 15 years of traveling and teaching dance. The type of dancing that I taught was American swing dances from the 20s to the 40s. And it's a really unique style of dance that's very improvised. So not only is the leader making up the moves a lot, but the follow also is embellishing a lot. So the whole dance is very off the cuff and made up in real time, as is the music, the jazz music we dance to. And that was always my particular fascination, was this social language, this physical language of making things up together, the lead and the follow, in real time to music. So that was the passion. It took me all over the world teaching. I always focused on social dance and that communication, the language, the lead and the follow in my particular career, more so than being on stage and doing choreography and being the showman. I really was fascinated with how can I communicate, or how can we communicate without words what we want to make happen, and then do it, just have those magical moments where we're so in sync that the song and the lead and the embellishment are all just the right thing at the right moment. So that I did for about 15 years, and coming out of that, transitioning out of that career took me into a whole host of other opportunities and things, but really took me into leadership, and realizing that the skills I had developed and the awarenesses that I developed of how we show up in the body and what the body can communicate without saying a word, just that nonverbal communication, has a big part in how we lead people, how we open opportunities in sales, how people read us, just when we're in their physical presence. So that took me into leadership development, and then ultimately into more focus on sales. And in this particular moment, it's very interesting to see how now one of the challenges is how can we continue to connect body to body when all we have is this little camera and the Zoom screen. So it's interesting how with a lot of my customers right now, it's how can I continue to build body connection with people and rapport and relationship when I'm stuck behind a camera, so to speak.
Yeah, you make me want to get my body really straight and dance.
When people ask, what do you do? And I give them some sense of like, oh, I work with body. They're always like, oh, are you reading me now? Like, what's my posture? So please, no, not at all.
No, it's kind of funny when you look at it like that. Yeah, what's interesting is, like, you know, touching on what you just said about, you know, we're all basically in lockdown at the moment. So we're at home. And even for those that listen to this in the future, I think, in my opinion, that where things are heading is there's going to be a lot more of this online, where the communication and relationships are built like this. So to get in front of people won't be there as much. It'll be there in the future, but obviously not as much as it has been in the past. So based on that, what are your key things that you can give to people, or your tips that you can give to people when they are behind a camera? So whether it's like, I'm on my laptop right now, so I've got a relatively big screen, and some people have got it set up so that they've got a bigger screen, but some people are just on their little phone when they're communicating with people. How do you do that using your body, using that unspoken language to be able to build that relationship?
The first, and I think most important thing, is our body, however much information we have is what the screen says. So if we were physically in person, you would have eons and eons of like physical wiring in your body that would be picking up on all kinds of cues off of me, whether you're aware of it or not. Like that's always happening in the background for all of us. And really what happens is the amount of information gets chunked down as the medium changes. So here we still have voice, we still have visual, you can still see a little bit of my posturing. If I suddenly kind of collapsed, even though it's not big, there would be an impact in my presence on screen, my voice. So for me, standing upright, becoming aware of my own internal state and knowing that what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, how I'm being in my body is still transmitting through whatever medium. Even if it were just on a phone call, if I'm standing upright, barefoot, feet on the ground, in my empowered posture and having a conversation with a client or customer, they're gonna be able to pick up on that sense of certainty and groundedness, that sense of like, if I'm in connection with my own body breath. So really becoming aware of that internal state and body is a way that you can bring deeper presence into any medium.
So, I mean, that's super important, even if you can't see them, right? So
Absolutely.
if you're just talking on a phone call or something like that, because like you're saying, it projects in your voice. So are there certain things that you can recommend? So just say someone's getting on a phone call for now, we'll just not worry about the visual side of it for now. So someone's getting on a phone call of certain little tips or exercises they could do to get them in that place. So you said stand straight. Do you have anything that you do before you hop on a call to make sure you're in that place of certainty when you're speaking to them?
In that zone, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is a big part of the work that I do with customers or clients, let's just say. And it differs from person to person. So there's certainly things we can all do. Shaking out tension. A lot of times I'll physically just kind of shake my body, shake my shoulders, shake my hands, shake my feet, my head, roll my head just to release tension, like standing tension that's in my body and to let anything move and drop. So yeah, just like letting this go, shaking it out. Vocalizing is incredibly powerful. Like even just and letting go of whatever stress is in the body so that I'm fresh and I'm clean. Second thing is really breath. For me, there's a lot of different breath exercises that I'll do to alter my state, particularly if I'm in any form of fight or flight or stressed outness. And I don't think we'll do any of those on the camera per se tonight, but there's so many different breath works. It can be a calming. It can be a, hey, I need to do like a inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4, like what's called box breath. That's an amazing way to calm the nervous system. Or it may be that I need to show up in a little bit more oomph and let the person on the other side feel my action and my drive. And if that's the case, I'll do a completely different breath work to put myself in a slightly altered state. So breath work, shaking, like releasing tension. And it really differs person to person. Sometimes it'll be just, hey, something physical, like I'm gonna just do 10 push-ups to get physically in my body. Other clients, they need to feel like kind of the flow. So it'll be like, hey, you're gonna just put on a fun song and dance for 30 seconds and just let your body express itself. And now you're in a different state. You're a little more energized. You're more connected to yourself. And it's a lot easier to show up in your full presence on the call.
It's the other thing I think that's super important because, you know, they're things like I've done a lot of speaker training and different training like that. And, you know, they teach you all the breath work and things like that. And the other thing that I've done is singing. So, and that is also getting your voice in the right place and being able to project and the sound of your voice is so important. And, you know, whether it's, you know, you're speaking to someone that could be a little bit agitated or someone that's, and it's not that they're agitated with you, they're just agitated. And we get obviously a lot of that right now. People are super stressed. There's so many businesses that are challenged and not everyone is seeing a level of opportunity. But I think another thing, and you can tell me your view on this, and this is what I've worked from home for like 15, 16 years now. So my office has always been in my house. But I had to get myself in the place to get in that state or in the zone of getting up as if I was going into an office and getting up as if every single day I was actually going to meet someone physically and getting dressed exactly like that, even if my calls, they couldn't see me. So What are your thoughts on that?
I'm 100% with you on that. I really believe, particularly for anything that's interpersonal, like putting yourself in the right clothes, in the right place, in the right frame of mind for what's about to happen. And I 100% agree with, there's managing my own state, being able to show up intentionally with whatever energy I want to, with connection to myself, with my own certainty of what I'm doing in the world so that others can feel that. And then there's where is that landing? Is that landing with someone who is extremely stressed out, who is in overload, who is frustrated, and maybe has nothing to do with me or the opportunity or the conversation that we're having? It's just their state. And then that becomes that secondary piece of really the interpersonal dance of our energies together. Can I hold a space that can help them down-regulate their nervous system and show up to the conversation at hand? Or does that completely throw the conversation and I'm thrown for a loop as well? And that deeper embodied holding presence and still holding the intention you have, meeting the person and being able to shift the dynamic. Okay, now that we're both here in the room, let's talk about what we came to talk about. So those are kind of higher level skills that I believe more and more, particularly in these times, are called from all of us at all levels of leadership, at all levels of sales or business, is how can I be aware of my own system and meet others and bring down-regulated energy so that we can get to the business at hand.
And, you know, that it's like the saying goes, it takes 21 days to change a habit, right? And that's the hardest thing is, I guess, is people being able to take on the suggestions, like on a webinar like this, where we've got amazing people like yourself that are sharing their tips and things that you can do, but to actually get those changes in place where, okay, I've made a decision, I'm going to do things differently, and to be able to sustain that momentum with it is challenging, which is why you offer what you do and how you work with people to be able to support them to move through that and how to get better results from their sales or their communication relationship in general. So share a little bit more about what you do and your processes of how you work with people, the sort of things you take them through so they can get a good idea of what it is that, you know, if someone books a call with you, because obviously that's what we're offering as part of this as well, that Absolutely. There's an opportunity to see a different way to work with someone. So tell me a bit more about that.
Absolutely. Selling, for me, obviously we're going to bring the dance analogy back in. There's the lead side of sales, which is more the individuated. Like if we just talk about the mental intelligence and emotional intelligence, and then let's just say body or physical intelligence as well. There's a way that sales can be very much like driven from me. I have this clear plan. I'm going to have you feel my inspired action towards that, like my emotion. And then here's the physical bioenergetic energy to like motivate you to take action. And a lot of times sales is kind of pitched as that, like you're going to go out and drive and create and sell the plan and sell the vision. And there's a whole nother side through the assessment that folks have the opportunity to go through, is figuring out, well, where does it land for me? Am I on the other side of those three intelligence, which is more the group feel, the more connected us feeling, which is holding uncertainty in sales, the intuitive side, the holding emotional space and empathy and feeling what others feel, or, hey, I'm not here to motivate and drive you physically, but I'm going to make you feel really connected and grounded. And so what I do is take people through a really quick assessment and just get a sense for what are your geniuses when it comes to interpersonal presence and creating connection and creating opportunity together with another person. And then come back to where do you need to be in your body for certainty? Where is that place? Okay, now using that place of certainty, let's bring your gifts to the front and be able to create opportunity with others using that sales edge, using what of those 6 geniuses are yours at the front. Now let's find ways to create opportunity to approach others, to have those conversations about what can we do together, what's here in the space, or here's the thing I have, like whichever side of that conversation is most natural to you, so that the results come, and helping them hopefully, like you said, as far as creating new habits, is giving them one thing at the tail end. Like, here's one way to go into sales calls. Here's one way to connect to that zone of genius before an important conversation. So something that's very manageable and chunked down that they can then put the time in to create a habit from.
That's awesome. And I mean, it's so, like we were saying, it's so important at the moment, because, you know, these people that have been in businesses that now it's been so offline, and they, you know, they've now had to think of pivoting and bringing it into an online version. And even like the likes of hospitality, where there's some restaurants, and I spoke to a lady yesterday who's got a restaurant, and she said, I just had to close the doors. And I said, why did you? Like, I mean, there's so many things that we can support you with, that you can still have that relationship with your customers. And she said, because they can't come and see me anymore, but there's a different way that she can connect with them. And that's super important. So from, you know, someone, if we talk about people like that are in positions where their business has been offline, they've got that relationship with their customers offline, and now they've got to pivot, or they have to think of a different way that they can generate income. What's your suggestions around that?
I think this situation we all find ourselves in really opens up the intuitive, empathic, grounded side of the equation, which is, I don't get to just come forward and tell you, here's a solution to your problem that I've crafted, and do you want it? Because I don't even know if it fits the market anymore. You may not have that problem anymore. Like, there's so much uncertainty. And there are products where that's the case, where it's just pivoting, finding a new way of delivering something, and you can stay in that energy of like, I just need to get to market in a different way, and there's a solution, and let's get on it. There's a lot of others where it's like, it's completely unknown. How do I, as a restaurant owner, serve my audience when they can't come eat? Like, that's a big fat uncertainty. And like in my model, you don't have any clarity. So going to creating an audience, creating community, creating a space to gather, empathizing with them and saying, what's real for you? Like, here's what I know to be true. I'm great at this. This is the gift I have. This is why I'm on the planet. This is what I'm meant to do. And I have no idea how that's meant to get to you, but I'm here to be in connection with you. Let's create a community. Let's us find certainty that we're going to make it through this. And then in that conversation, let's leave a lot of open uncertainty in the mental realm about what that business model looks like, and let it come into the space. Let's let our conversation create, bud, nurture that solution. And then, okay, now that we have it, great, let's pivot. If I can help you solve that problem, let's minimal viable product, try it out, see if it actually works. If it works, let's go right to the community and make sure that I'm giving that same gift in a whole new way, but based on connection, based on groundedness, based on the audience and what their actual needs are, not me in a corner over here going, I've got to find the new solution and show up with a ton of certainty to the market, telling them that's the solution, when honestly, in these moments, there's no way to know until you have a heart-to-heart, hip-to-hip conversation with someone and say, how can I make my gifts worthwhile for you right now? How can I be of support to what you need?
Wow, that's amazing. Cool. So there's so many opportunities for people out there at the moment. And I said, it is looking differently. And what you do is so powerful, because we all have the opportunity to be connecting with people in a different way. I mean, I do this day in, day out. And, you know, even listening to you now, I think, wow, yeah, I've got to think of that a little bit differently, because I'm looking on a screen nearly all day with people. And as I'm sure many have in the past as well. For some, like I said, it's new, it's moving, it's a new paradigm for them to go, I have to do it this way now. Or I don't have to, I could choose just to do nothing and then lose what I had. But that's not an option for so many. And these people that are on the call at the moment, it's so important that they get the opportunity to be able to do it the right way. And because it's highly competitive out there, right? There's a lot of people vying for each other's attention. And it's like, if you're not that person that's really got that connection with their community, like you said, having built that community, or that community is in place, if you're not that person that's got that connection, then guess what? They're going to listen to someone else. So how do you work with people to make sure that they really are the ones that are continually getting the opportunities? And, you know, what do you suggest in regards to how often should people be connecting with their audience and then going through that process of saying, all right, now I'm going to make an offer to them. You know, now I've got something I want to make an offer to. So what's your ideas around that?
If you have the community, I would say be in as much conversation as possible and really deepen the intimacy. So as opposed to say, like, you could survey them, or you could create a community, or you could actually, if they're that type of a connection, go straight to the phone and actually have a meaningful conversation of what's happening in your world and what's real for you, and holding deeper space to get past the stress and freak out to, wow, this is a meaningful connection. And now I'm going to actually tell you what's happening and what the real problem is that I'm facing. And that's the gold that we're all seeking in this moment, is what's the real problem? What's the real thing that needs addressing? And my belief is that it's, in this particular moment, for most audiences, less strategic, less find information and just act, and more slow down. So I would say slow down with your audience, with your community, and with yourself, because I know what's true for me. I don't have a huge audience with this particular offering. It's a lot of one-to-one, one to small groups, and I was doing in-person model. So my particular community isn't a huge online group. And what I ended up doing is actually slowing down so much to find, what is it that I'm here to do first? And when that got really clear, conversations that I was just having naturally with clients and friends led to opportunities, because I wasn't looking for, how is my business going to pivot? What am I going to offer this person? I was just fully in who I am and having a heart to heart with someone. And then invitations came off of that. Oh my goodness, we need what you have. Would you come to our business? Would you come here? I have someone who needs something that you've never done before, and yet you're the perfect person to solve this problem. And I'm like, absolutely, you're right. So slowing down, finding your inner sense of why am I here, and really connecting to that, whatever that practice is for you, of going, and I would say strip down. If there's something you solve, keep asking, what is it I actually solve? What's the problem behind that problem? What's the problem behind that problem? Until you get to some core sense of what you do for your clients that's a little bit magical, and then hold that deep inside yourself as you're saying, okay, now I'm going to hold that inside here as I go have heart-to-heart conversations with my people and see what the next solution they need is.
Awesome. Something that just happened to me, I don't know if you just saw that then, but what just happened to me, and this is relevant, exactly relevant to what you're talking about right now, is that there's something behind the scenes on my laptop that brought up a reminder, and I thought that I had shut everything off. So on that topic, that's about distraction. And that's the thing, is like, I can be on a call like this, and we're doing this call, this little reminder comes up, or a screen shifts, or something happens in regards to our connection. You know, we have bandwidth or internet connections, things drop out. It's once again being in that position of being able to keep the focus and keep a level of certainty, but also be open and honest with people, be authentic, I guess is the word I'm looking for, where you say, hey, this just happened. Who else does that happen to?
Yeah.
How important is that, do you think?
Hugely. And I was just going to say, yeah, the sun is setting here because we're in slightly different time zones. And I'm going to just make a little adjustment here so I get a little more light on my face and I don't disappear to everybody. And then now I'll drop back into full presence with you. And I think for me, it's time for meditation. Like, there's just no way around. I believe that awareness is truly the next new golden thing. Is true deep presence and awareness is one of the most valuable commodities, obviously for yourself, but also in interaction with your clients, like full presence with your clients, and being able to cultivate that ability to have the distraction come, see it and let it go, and still stay in as deep a presence as you can, is the way you penetrate all the notifications, all of the distractions of having things in your family happening and in your household. That's the, I'm here with you even as the storm's going around me piece, that I believe meditation or some form of awareness practice is imperative because it's the new norm. We don't necessarily get to go sit in a sound booth room together and shut the world out in order to have our conversation. And we can do our darndest to really be fully present if we cultivate that practice individually.
Yeah, that's perfect. And there's a friend of mine that every time before he gets up to speak, he gets in that presence and that state no matter what's going on around. And there's usually a fair bit of noise because it's like in a public arena that he speaks. And he always says, it's for them, it's for them. And or it gets in the presence and of actually I'm here to give value and I'm here for you. Yeah. And it becomes this beautiful, it's almost like you can see the aura around him of his presence is so obvious. And if, you know, like his phone goes off or something accidentally because he just forgot to silence it or whatever, he just brings that into his presence. Right. And, you know, that becomes part of it and it's beautiful. And I think, you know, that's the message that you're giving to everyone. So this has been amazing, James. I'm so excited about the potential of what everyone can get right now by connecting with the right people and getting the right support. And I think that's more important than ever, is not for everyone to be listening to everything. There's so much free stuff out there, which obviously this is, you know, we're offering these webinars for free and you know, and I'm always looking to connect with the best of the best as I've got with you. But they also need to be able to back themselves and get that level of support to be able to say, well, what can I do that can make that real difference, that puts me in that place of being different than others? Because like I said before, it's all about that competition that's out there. So the opportunity for everyone that's on this call and anyone else that's listening in, because we're going to be able to send this out to so many different people globally, the opportunity to have a call with you and connect in and just even find out if there's a time for them to make a different decision on where they're at and do more work with this. So we are going to be sending out your link so that people can connect with you and have a call. But before we do finish up, what are some last tips or last things that you would love to share with the group before we say goodbye for now?
This is at a particular time in, I think, history, honestly. And the piece that feels most alive to me is there's a bit of a shift, I believe, from driving whatever business car you're driving or vehicle you're driving from a sense of I'm driving this and I know where it's going and it's mine to drive, to more of a sense of being in community in that vehicle and where are we going, and listening, like leading by listening, leading by connecting instead of leading by speaking and leading by directing. There's a moment and a shift for us to embrace that is, we're now driving this, and most powerful leadership I can show up in may be slowing down, getting more present, and listening super deeply to what wants to happen. And I believe, hopefully, that's the emergent leaders, business leaders, and other leaders that will come out into this next space are the ones who can hold deep space, connect deeply, and listen to what wants to happen. Because that's the beauty of uncertainty, is we don't know until we get present to what wants to happen.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, James. Yeah, hopefully each and every person that's listening in on this connects with you. You're going to be inundated with calls and the value that you can offer to them. So I can't thank you enough. I've learned so much. I do these because I actually get to learn. You know, it's a little bit of a cheat for me. You and I could get on a call and I could have this, but I love to do it in this format. So thank you for making a difference to my life and everyone else out there. Super excited to connect with you again in the future and maybe do another session in the future. If you're open to that, would be awesome. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation, Terry. It's been a delight.
It's a pleasure, and look forward to connecting in with you really soon. Thanks,
all right,
James.
then. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.